we can get started. So.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time and for being here and joining us for this session. And I will share my screen now, and I will use some slides to guide in the session. And after the session, we will upload these slides on the issue we are using for tracking the session. Okay. So
perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Now I'm sharing my screen. Let me check. Okay, please tell me if you can see.
Yep.
My screen.
We can see it.
Okay, fine. Okay. Okay, so we are starting the first session. So we are covering the main features and characteristics of the dashboard. We are doing an overview about all the panels and how to use the dashboard and how to which possibilities the dashboard is offering. And then if we have some time, we can cover some use cases. Okay. So first, we are going to start with the main features of the dashboard and explain to you the architecture which the dashboard is based on, which is the project called Grimoire Lab. So you have here the architecture, the general architecture. Basically, we have these data sources where we collect data from, okay? So we use a tool called Perceval for that. Then we enrich that information with, for example, we can add affiliation information, we can add also gender information even. So we store this information in Elasticsearch database where we can produce, querying this database, we can produce panels, we can produce reports, and then you can see this data in your dashboard, right? After all this platform produces this toolchain, okay? And then in this session, we are covering these main features of the dashboard, and I'm using these slides to guide this one of these features, okay? So we are starting with the drill down. So what I'm doing now is going to your dashboard, okay? This is the overview window. I don't know if the Zoom window...
we can see it well. We can see it well, yeah.
Okay, fine. Okay, so first of all, it's covering the basic structure of the dashboard. So you have here on the left-hand side a menu bar, where you can navigate through the different panels, right? You have two kinds of menus. You have one of these, but each button, you can have a button like, for example, data status, which you click on the button and it takes you to the dashboard itself. Or you can have one of these like Git, for example, or community, which is only a button which opens a sub-menu where you have these three different panels. Okay, so just to make clear that. So we have this left-hand side menu with the login button also and the collapse option. Okay, and then we have here in the top right corner, we have here the time picker, which is a time filter we are explaining later. And then we have some options like full screen, sharing options, and also edit. Okay. Then we have here a search box also. Here we have some filters, which are also things that we are covering now. And here we have the widgets that is conforming the panel itself. Okay. Okay. Until here, is everything fine?
Yep. Quick question, and I'm not sure if we'll cover this later on. The search box. What type of queries do you use in there? I mean, I see user query syntax, but yeah,
yes.
We haven't really used it.
Yes, we will cover that. Yes,
cool.
We will cover that in a moment. Yes. Okay. So first feature we are going to see is the drill down feature. So basically, is to you will see that everything. You will see that you have many different widgets with clickable elements, and we are going to see what happens if we click and the kind of interactions we can make with these widgets, okay? So we have, for example, we are going for, I'm going to the Git overview dashboard, okay? The Git overview panel. And you can see here, let me check if that is loading. Okay, fine. So we have here a time series where we can drag and drop to filter by a certain time range, okay? If you see here, this is the general time filter for all the data you are seeing below, right? So this is last 10 years. So if we, for example, here make this drag and drop in this time range, you will see that this time in the time picker changes, and then all the data below is being updated for covering that time range. Okay? Okay, so for example, we have also, you can filter by a certain organization, for example. So if you click here, one of the options, you will see a magnifying glass with a plus and here with a minus. So if you click with the plus magnifying glass, you will see that automatically a filter here is added. You see it here? And we are going to cover each of these options of the filter now. Basically, we can remove this filter and everything gets updated. Let's wait. Okay, if we click on the other magnifying glass with the minus, you will get the opposite information. It's all the organizations, all data from organizations except for GitLab, right? You will see here that filter, and now it's everything gets updated. Okay, so I'm going again with GitLab. Sorry for the loading times. So okay, so we are covering these options here. You see the filter here, this tick. This tick is for you can disable the tick, and then the filter remains active. Sorry, the filter remains here, but it's not active anymore. So you will see all the information now. If I click again, the filter gets applied again. Okay, that's what the ticks is for. We have also this pin over here. Let me check. This pin here, it fixes the filter, because if you don't mark this this pin and you change from one panel to another, you will lose this filter. Okay, so if you don't pin this filter, otherwise you will lose it when you change from one panel. Imagine that I want to go to attraction retention one. You will see that the filter is here because I have pinned it. Okay. Okay. I'm going back to overview now. Okay. Let's continue. We have an option here, which is the magnifying glass with the minus, which is the effect I showed you before, which is the opposite filter. Okay. We have the remove button, and you have here also, if you click here, you can edit this filter. Okay, you can select here another organization which is in the list. Okay, and also you can see how the query looks like, because Kibana is working, is performing queries to the Elasticsearch database to show you this data. So in this case, every query is a JSON document. So you see here how the query is being performed. Okay, from this filter. Okay. Okay. Also, you have this button here, which is add a filter. So you can basically add a new filter, and here you have all the fields which is contained in the indexes from the database, right? For example, if I want to to filter by a certain repository, for example. You will see here. Oops, sorry about that. Oh, yeah. Oops, sorry. Here it is. You have here the values from the repos we are currently tracking for your dashboard. So I can save this filter and you will see we have a new filter created here.
Yeah, and I think I asked you this question last week. I mean, there's a filter for labels. Is that like a fully functional? Because I wasn't sure if that was, I mean, I didn't see all the labels. That was one thing, but wasn't sure if the labels filter was actually completely working yet. But
It's not working yet because we have that information, but we have to convert these labels, which are basically a string containing all the labels. We have to convert that into a list for all the individual labels, so you can filter by it. So we are still working on it.
Okay, thanks.
But it will be available.
Right.
You will be able to filter
Right.
by label. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Then Okay, I think that basically that's all about this kind of filters. And then we have mentioned about the time picker, which is this button over here. I'm going to click that and you will see. We have 3 different tabs here, which is the quick button. You will see here you have some quick references, last 1 year, last 90 days, and so on. And well, you should be careful sometimes because, for example, last 1 year is not the same as previous year. So maybe maybe it's a little bit confusing to use these filters, and that's why you have also the relative. You can see you can set here how many years or how many months, days, etc. And also you can set an absolute starting from and to, starting and ending date for the data you want to query. Okay, that's the time picker. For example, I'm going to select last 2 years. Okay, that's it. About the you were mentioning about the search box. Okay, I'm going to show you an example. Okay, well, we are going back to these slides. So we have covered these filters. Okay, we have seen also this time picker, and we are looking at the search box now. And you have to be careful and see what you are going to look for. For example, if you write, for example, this name, which is Stan Hu, right? You are going to look by either Stan or U, but across all the fields. Okay, so you have to be more specific if you want to get the contributions for that author. Okay, so in this case, the field is called author name. So we need to perform a specific query for that. Okay, so the syntax it uses the Lucene query syntax. So we can perform this query by writing itself the name, right? And you will get this information for this author. You see it here. Or also, you can add this filter, as I told you before. The field is called author name. Sometimes you will see some fields starting with a capital letter, and you must ignore them because this is some legacy history we have. So we usually ignore these uppercase starting fields. So author name, you have here several options for the query. We're going to set is Stan Hu. Sorry for that. Here it is. And that's basically the same behavior as if you were performing the query with the search box using the Lucene syntax. I don't know if that solves your question before.
Sorry, I was trying to unmute. Sorry. Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Now we are going to cover these sharing options we have here. So I'm clicking the share button, and you see we have two columns. We have share the safe dashboard and share a snapshot. Okay, so you can either embed this panel, or even you can get the link to the panel itself. Okay, so the difference here, if you share the snapshot, you will share the dashboard as it is now with the filters included. I mean, the time filter, the time picker filter, and also all the filters you have here. Okay, that's why this is what the snapshot is for. If you share the dashboard itself with a link, you will not keep these filters you have added, or other changes you have added to the dashboard. Okay. Basically, we have here an option which is called short URL, and please note that you will not be able to do that unless you log into the dashboard with your account. Okay. If I click on short URL now, it will give me an error because I'm not logged in, and I have no permissions for that. Okay. Once I have,
that's something I learned last couple of weeks. And Remy and Taylor, in case you don't have the login information, I stored it in 1Password for GitLab. So the username is GitLab, and I forget what the password is, but you should be able to find it. If you can't, let me know.
Okay. Just to mention that. So please be careful with snapshots. Well, because Kibana stores all the information which is displayed in the dashboard below is stored in the URL, right? You will see a very long URL containing this information. So if you want to save a dashboard with a specific search or a specific filters, we don't recommend you to use these snapshots links for that, because if the panel changes in the future, these links are not going to be valid anymore because things may change. Okay, so what you should do is to save the dashboard if you have customized it with some filters or specific information, and we can cover this issue in later sessions. We can help you also on that. We have also the support tracker for that. We can help you on customizing your dashboard and the filters to save or customized panels. Okay. And okay, we have here we have covered the save button. I don't know if my workmate Alberto wants to add something to what I've told until now.
Well, I think most of the things have been covered. Just have in mind that everything in Kibana is clickable, as Miguel Angel said. So if you hover over a table row or whatever, you are going to see that things change, and you have magnifying glasses to filter information. And also, maybe you have to mention how to export data from tables, Miguel Angel.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Basically, following what my workmate Alberto was telling you, everything in Kibana, every widget you see here, it's a table. Okay. So you will see, for example, this. You see this table here. Sorry, this time series from commits. If you click here, you will see that there is a table containing this information. Okay, so basically, Kibana offers an option to export these tables into a CSV file. Okay. So for example, we have here a table, and we can click here on export, and you will get a CSV file. Let me open for you. And you have here the table containing this information. Okay. Also, again, it works with widgets that are not tables, like, for example, this organization's pie chart. It's also a table behind, so you can export it. Okay, that's what Alberto was saying about exporting. I think that's clear. Is that clear? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And then, okay, so now what we are going to do is to navigate through the different panels you currently have for your dashboard. Okay. So we have seen this overview panel, which covers basic metrics for the data sources you are currently tracking. Okay, which in this case is Git, GitLab issues, and GitLab merge requests. And you see here some statistics and some overall time series. Okay, and we are covering basically, if we click on Git, you will see we have here 3 different panels. So we are covering every one of them. Basically, we are going to Git overview now. And you will see, for example, it has specific information. In this case, we see here a table of authors, the evolution of those authors over time, the evolution of commits. Here we have the amount of commits by group, by organization here. Here's a more detailed view about the contributions. Sorry for this window. I cannot move. Okay. You have here more detailed information about the commits by organizations, time zone also, and here the repositories we are currently tracking for this data source, which is Enterprise Edition and Community Edition. Okay. Okay. Now we are going to see specific panels we have for Git, for example, which is attraction reduction, which is the demographics, basically. So this panel is going to, well, I'm going back to the slides so you can see how we are progressing through the session. We have covered the share and embed options. We have seen the export option also. And well, as a reminder, you can use the activity we are filtering and the data you see, maybe to validate some data you already have. For example, you told us the other day that you had also some way to retrieve data. So this is a way also to compare the data you already have with this with your dashboard now. And also, I think the value here is we can aggregate information from different sources, and also you can have a lot of different widgets, and as you have seen, you can filter and focus on a single project or a single repository or a single organization. So that's what we wanted to cover in the previous section. And now we are going through the overview. I have explained you this overview panel and also the Git panel. And okay, we are covering first some specific panels for each data source we have. So for example, we are covering now the timing panels, okay? So these panels are going to help you to answer these kind of questions. How long, for example, does it take to close things? Issues, tickets, whatever. In this case, we have issues and merge request from GitLab. Sorry. So I'm going to GitLab issues, and you see this timing panel. I'm getting back to demographics later. And you have here, okay, let's wait to see if it loads. Okay, you have here, I'm going to change this filter. Okay, and you see here specific information for how long does it take to close issues in this case. Also, you have that information by organization, by submitters, by projects also. In this case, there is only one project. And here you have the latest issues in the date range we have selected. If you click here, for example, in the URL, you can go to the issue itself. And this works the same for GitLab merge requests also. In the timing panel is similar information, but with merge requests, okay? Please feel free to interrupt me if I need to go back to any panel or if I misexplained something.
Okay. Miguel Angel, good point. I was just going to interrupt you.
Fine.
I've got a question regarding organizations. We talked about it on an issue, on a support issue a while ago, but now that we're looking at the panel, it dawned on me. Is it correct to think that if I look at the Git panel, I can see the organizations in a more granular way, because you get that information from the Git commit itself, but or rather from the author of the Git commit. But on GitLab issues and GitLab merges, that information about the organization is not provided through the API. So in GitLab issues and GitLab merges, we generally have either unknown and GitLab or unknown GitLab. And in this case, we've got CERN in here, but I'm thinking that it's because someone has assigned a particular identity, a particular organization. So that's my question to you. Is that correct? This way of thinking?
Yes. Let me explain first how we deal with identities, because we use a tool which is called Sorting Hat, which basically consists on a database, and we can perform with Sorting Hat many identity related operations, and we have a web interface tool which is called Hastal for helping on that. And basically, we don't extract the affiliation information from Git information, actually, but what we do is we get the email from which the commit was made with, okay? And Sorting Hat uses heuristics to assign one email domain to an organization. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. So in this way, for example, if someone have made a contribution with at IBM.com, for example, we have assigned in Sorting Hat a file which says, okay, all coming from IBM.com, it's IBM. So unless you modify the database information or an identities file you have in a GitLab repository, in your dedicated GitLab repository, that information is going to, Sorting Hat is trying to guess where that person is affiliated, in which organizations, you know? So in this case, if in GitLab you have people with an unknown organization, we have to check these cases and see if they can be merged with the contributors we have for Git, and then we can complete their information, okay? Because maybe indeed, if we have only the GitLab username and we don't have any email, at the first place, we don't have any way to tell which company a person belongs to.
Okay, so the data you get from the API, you get generally the username, but no email, and that's why. Okay, and
that's right. Maybe if that person have configured his or her affiliation, or his organization, sorry, we can get that data and complete the information. But if we don't, we can complete it automatically, let's say. But you can add that information, so we can improve this case.
So it's mostly a manual case to share data between, or identities data between the Git data source and the GitLab API data source.
Yes, we have to check that, but yes, at first place, we will need manual work to tell what's happening there, and then we can fix this identities and the information, so you can see the actual right information from affiliation in this case.
Okay.
I don't know if that solves your question.
Yeah, that solves my question. It's just that I'm trying to figure out if this, whether we need this granularity on match requests. It'd be interesting to have, but if it requires quite a lot of manual work in doing this, sharing of identities, I'm not sure if it's worth it, because we cannot apply the heuristics that the Git data source or that sorting applies to the Git data source.
If you agree with, we can open an issue in the support tracker and then have a deeper look into it, and we can see the unknown cases, and maybe we can see what's happening there.
Okay, cool. Makes sense.
Yeah, there might be an existing issue where I asked a question, but I mean, if that's closed, then yeah, we can open another one, I guess. But
yeah.
Sorry. Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah. There is an. Yeah. Sure.
yeah, because I think I asked a question as to. I mean, I don't think I asked it like in the same way that David has. Like, because I thought that somehow the identity organization data was getting lost when we get to like merge requests, but.
Okay, let me review the issues, and then I will update them. Okay.
Cool. Thanks.
Okay. Should we continue then? Okay.
Yeah, and then I was going to ask you this question too, because obviously the CE is visible now in Git and like issues.
Yes.
But it's still not visible in merges yet. So I assume that is it just a matter of waiting until that data gets loaded, or?
Yes, that's right. Maybe it's still retrieving the data.
Right.
So let me check. But I mean the tool is retrieving the data since I think we have added this on last Friday.
Right.
So maybe that's
wait a few more hours.
Now it's here. Maybe it's not complete yet.
Okay.
But it's here. You can see it here. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We're looking. Ray and I were looking at it earlier on today, and it wasn't yet there. But it's great now. Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Fine. Okay. So we have seen the timing panel, and then we have here some warning just to make some details into this. For example, if you see something like these percentiles of medians, okay, you will always see in timing panels this decreasing trend here, which is going to be similar to the median time to close. For example, in this case, if the median close time is 50 days, you will see a decreasing trend beginning 50 days ago. Okay, so you should check, for example, in this specific case, and understand why you have this decreasing trend, because it's incomplete data. You are seeing time-related information, and that time is not complete yet. I don't know if I explained myself well enough, but if not, I think my workmate Alberto can give you some additional details about this.
Yeah, I think the key thing here is what is in bold font in the slide. And it's just that things cannot be open longer than the time from now to the point in which they were open. So that's the thing. We cannot have a median longer than 50 days if we are talking about 49 days ago. So this is the reason for having this decreasing trend, because things opened yesterday have been opened just for 1 day, but they are not closed. So that's the thing. If the value is under the median, then it's biased by the median. I don't know if I explained it better or worse than Miguel Angel.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense to me. Like, but David and Remy, I don't know if you have any questions on that, but
No,
That
sounds
makes
good.
sense.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, fine. In this case, let's continue. Okay, we have another kind of panels, which are the backlog panels. And the question this panel, one of these questions the panel wants to answer is, which are the things that remain open? And you will answer things like, for example, companies with more open things than others. So we can go to either GitLab issues or GitLab merges for this backlog panel. And you will see here a specific information for open, in this case, open issues. You have here how many open issues in this time frame you have picked, in this case, last 2 years. And you have here also time series, some organizations. I think this is what you were referring to before, which is this organizations table. Sorry, pie chart is not the same as the one in the Git panel.
Correct. Yeah.
Right? Okay. And we have here also how many issues, open issues with from organized by submitter, also by organization and by project also. So again, you can filter. You can filter by a certain issue, by a certain organization, and so on. Let me check. Okay. Okay, that's backlog. And why is this interesting? You can, for example, get these two panels and get combined information. For example, with the timing, some companies have to wait longer to get their things approved or closed. And with the backlog, looking at open, in this case, open issues, we can answer questions like, do companies with more open things have to wait longer to get their things approved or closed? So that's kind of questions you can answer combining this information, for example. This is one of the use cases. Okay, and then we are reviewing a couple of panels which are not in the slides. So we are going to focus here on a couple of panels. You have here the areas of code inside of Git data source. Now it's loading. Okay. Let's wait. Okay, now here it is. Okay. So basically, this panel offers same information or similar information as the overview panel for Git, but with a closer level of granularity. In this case, the granularity is at a file level. So you can see commit information, but focused at the level of files. You will see things like file types, file extensions. You can have also, let me scroll down, directories from the repository, file paths. So that's commit information, but at the level of files. You will see here, for example, a blank space, which is the root directory, but we haven't decided yet how to name that. I think in the near future, we'll have some name for that, because we are not, is it not clear for us yet to name it root, for example, but so it is not clear, so it's blank. Well, so for you to know that it's not an error, but we don't know how to name it yet. But when you see this empty field, it's the root directory in this case. Okay. So again, you can filter by directories, you can filter by extensions, by paths, and so on. You can see here, for example, a graph, how many lines have been added and removed. And again, you can use the time picker and so on. Okay, and now we are going back to attraction retention panel, which is the demographics. And this panel is going to help you to understand how many people and which people, the people which is coming into the community, new people coming, newcomers to the community, and also the outcomers, the people which are leaving the community. Okay, and how we define the people about a person is leaving the community. We have established a period for 6 months. So if a person is not doing any contribution, any commit in the last 6 months, we mark like this person is getting inactive, so is leaving the community in this case. So you will see here this time series. You can see the evolution of how many developers are leaving the community across all the time, and at the end you will see always this peak here because of the time we are considering. Okay, and the same for attracted developers, which basically is the date for the first commit of every person. The date for the first commit is when that people enter the community, and the date for leaving the community is the date for the latest commit. Okay.
So there's just one question there on, because I think 6 months sounds reasonable to me, but if for some reason, if you wanted to change that to like 9 months, is that something that's possible to do, or?
Yes, right. This is possible because this period is configured in the widget.
Okay.
So we could just modify the widget and maybe add a custom panel for your needs.
Okay.
And some quick clarifications about this panel. Take care with the time picker here, because here we are using the dates of the first and the last commit of a developer. So if you try to use the time picker, you are going to have strange results, weird results, because time picker is always working on top of creation date of the items. So the idea here, I'm now requesting remote controlling this. Miguel Angel, please.
Sure.
Yeah. So here in last commit developers, what we have is the date of the most recent commit of each developer. This is the reason for this peak here, because most of your community is making commits in the last month. Probably this is a week or something like that. So now, if I'm interested, for instance, in people that came to the community here, I can click in the bar. And then I have here the filter. You notice that here says author max date, which is the maximum date for that author. So, sorry, it's a bit difficult to control the scrolling with this. So now here all the data is filtered by that date. So we can know where developers that made the last commit in that date came to the community. So they were attracted in these periods of time. And we can do also filtering here. We can select this range, and now what we have here is people that came to the community, in this case 28 people, in April 2014, and left the community in the same month. So people that basically came to the community, made a commit, and then go out of the community. So the idea of this panel is clicking these bars to search for people that came to the community or left the community at a given point. So Let me see if I can the filters. Yep.
So I guess the summary here is do not use the time picker, use filters instead.
Yes, that's the idea. Because time picker is working with under date, and the way of working here is filtering with these charts because they are related with the dates the authors made their first and last commits. And this table here is a bit different because, as Miguel Angel said, we consider inactive a developer that made a commit between 6 months and 1 year ago, and then no more commits up to now. So this is the reason of calling this getting inactive, because probably you have other developers that are not active, but are not getting inactive. So these are only the set of people that probably you are interested in send an email or whatever to get them engaged in the community because they made some contribution recently and then it seems they are going to not contribute anymore. That's the idea.
Okay.
Quick question on just to wrap up this one. So you were saying if we needed to change the, I'm just going to pick on this panel, developers getting inactive. If we wanted to change the period, which is 6 months now, as Ray was saying, this would be possible, but it would be a support request to Bitergia to do this change. We wouldn't be able to do this ourselves. Do I understand it correctly?
Well, you can do it. Maybe in the second training session, if you're interested in this particular case, we can schedule this particular use case. And it's pretty easy because you can edit the visualization and you can save the visualization and you have the visualization there for you. And if you need this in a panel, the only difference is that we need to build a new panel. You can do it.
Okay.
And it's not going to be the standard panel because we cannot support all customer modifications in the sense of we need to update our panels and we cannot take into account every single modification.
Right.
So from this point, your panel is your panel. We can help you with that, but it's not the standard one. But that's all. It's pretty easy. You can do it. We can keep the panel in the dashboard. Even we can add a link in the menu for the dashboard because the menu right now is not very flexible, but we are working on a new menu with the idea of having a menu more flexible for you in terms of customization. So the short answer is yes, you can.
Okay.
Also, of course, if we from support can help you on any issue, just feel free to open us an issue and ask whatever question you may have about it.
Perfect. Thanks.
Cool. Thanks.
Okay. I'm getting back to the slides. Okay. Now we are covering this community panels, which is based on a study which is called Onion study. So I'm clicking the overall panel from community. So this panel is made from a study which is called Onion study. We can send you the link to the reference for this panel. So basically, what we compute here is let's say divide the community by the percentage of their contributions. Okay. So people which is contributing with 80% of the activity, we call them core, okay, so which is the most commit developers. And we have also the regular, which is the next 15% of the activity. And then we have the casual, which are the contributing the last 50% of the activity. We can send you this link so you can have a closer look into it. So basically, in the overall, you have here this structure for the community computed by quarter. You can see it here, and you see here the evolution of the amount of how these different aspects of the community changes is changing across over time. Sorry, and we have here every contributor, every author. And for example, you can see here, you have some filters, and we have active the Git commits one and disable the GitHub. That's because until now we have covered only Git and GitHub, but now we support also GitLab for making this this community analysis. Well, this is also done. We are waiting for to be included in the next release, to be ready for you. You will also have, let me show you, you will have a widget like this, so you can select the data source you want to see this community for. So in this case, you will select from Git to GitLab in this case, okay?
Quick question: do you have an idea, a rough idea of when your next releases are? Do you have a regular cadence for releases?
We don't usually have a regular period for releases, but we are still trying to improve that. But well, I can update you in any ticket. We can update about how this is going to be available for you.
Okay.
Yeah, let me say that we usually have a weekly release, but our problems were to deploy that releases in all our customers. So we are working on having releases, maybe not weekly, but as far as we have a new release, that release must to be deployed in all customers. So now we are working on that. That's the reason for having some delays. And in this particular case, we had a problem last Friday with the last release because some old dependencies were added instead of the new ones. So the new release is ready, is deployed, but you are not looking at the right panels because of this conflict with the dependencies. So these new things will be available this week because today the development team is working in having the release fixed. And from now on, we expect to have probably not weekly, but bi-weekly releases or something like that, at least for bugs and this kind of stuff.
Should try GitLab.
Yeah, maybe we should.
Cool.
Yes,
Thanks
that's
for the
why.
info.
Yes, also that's why you are not seeing yet the milestones information you have asked for. Again, this is done, but sadly, after these problems we had with the release, you are not seeing it yet. But as soon as it is available, we will let you know. We'll update the issue, and we can share with you how to use it and some screenshots about it. Okay.
Cool. Thank you.
Also, I don't know if let me go here. Okay, that's for overall for community, but you can also we have compute this information also at the level of projects and also by the level of organizations. Okay, so in this case we have only one project, so this is not really the case we want to show, but I'm going to change into organizations. So, and this is the important thing with this panel. We have compute this onion analysis for every organization, okay? So looking at this panel without filtering by an organization is not useful because the aggregated, disaggregated data, and it has no sense. If you want to see aggregated data, you should go to overall panel. So this panel only makes sense if you click on a certain organization and you see the information we have compute for onion analysis for a specific organization. Okay. Again, you can edit here the filter. If you don't want to remove and click it again, you can select here from the from the list, and then click to save, and then you will see this study for this specific organization. Okay. I don't know if Alberto wants to add something to community panel.
No, well, I was writing in the chat the link to the documentation, and I was writing that information is there. So probably you can go to the documentation and read through the different use cases to understand a bit more how the panel works. And if you have any problem, any suggestion, you can open an issue in the tracker, and we can work in your particular use cases. This is a brand new panel for us, so this is a kind of work in progress. It's finished, but probably not covering the use cases you may be interested in. So we are more than welcome to have your feedback on this.
Okay, that's clear then. Thank you.
Okay, basically we have one panel left, so which is the data status panel, which basically is telling you when the data has been updated for every data source. You have it here, okay, and this is basically a control panel for that, okay. And then basically just to like a quick teaser for the next session. In the second session, the second training session, we usually cover how to edit these widgets you have seen, create the new ones, and then you can build your own panels, as my workmate Alberto mentioned before. And also, we are more than happy to adapt this session for your needs or for your specific use cases or something you specifically want to see and want to track. And basically also remind you that you have also access to the Elasticsearch API, so you can query data to the API itself and get the information just as the dashboard does to show you this information visualized. And basically that's it. Remind you that we're still shipping the product, and we are more than open to have your feedback, and so the system is very flexible. So we appreciate a lot your feedback, and please tell us feel free to open any issue you may have. We will try to solve it as soon as possible, as fast as possible in your support tracker in GitLab. So, and any question you may have, please ask.
Cool. Thanks. I appreciate this. And as for the next session, I think I think Remy, like, you're on vacation rest of this week, but I mean maybe next couple of weeks once you work through the release issues, for example, like we'll get back to you on schedule a subsequent one. I mean there are a couple of things that I think David brought up that we're definitely interested in seeing, doing some like a custom type of things, but yeah, we'll. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks, but yeah.
Fine.
Before we wrap up, just a quick question. It's more like a conceptual question. Do we? I mean, we have a master login to edit to get into the dashboard, and then for anyone else, it's public. In any case, if they're not logged in. Is this the general approach to have just one master admin login, or can we have per user logins, as in a set of admins for them to have their own visualizations or do their same edits? I guess the question is, sorry, it was very long-winded. Is it generally thought to have like one master admin account, or do you generally have separate ones?
Yes, we are not currently supporting different accounts with different panels and so on. So you can have different logins, but you will access the same information and the same customized panels. We don't have a specific. I mean, you can save specific panels and visualizations for every login, for every account. I don't know if I explained myself
when you say login, what do you mean? If so, let's say it's let's say I add a filter. So I log into the dashboard as an admin.
Yes.
Then I add a filter to merge requests that are not from the GitLab organization.
Mm-hmm.
How do I mean, can I save this? And if I do save it, who will see these changes? People who are logged into the session or people who are not logged in?
Okay, the thing is, if you apply a filter and you save the dashboard with a filter, everyone will see the change, even if the person has a different login.
Right. Okay.
If the person logins with a different account, or even if the person is navigating to the, imagine that the dashboard is publicly available and you can surf it sorry for the pronunciation, without logging in. Okay.
Yeah.
That person will see it also. So you are modifying the panel itself.
Okay. And and just to make sure I understand it then, so if we were, let's say Ray has an account and I have a different account, we essentially have the same permissions, and when we apply changes, everyone else sees the changes. So it does not really make sense to have different accounts.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah,
that's right.
That's clear then.
We have added a new, with the latest upgrade we have performed into our platform. We have included a security plugin which is called Search Guard works with Elasticsearch and Kibana, and we are still exploring the possibilities that it offers in terms of permissions and different user accounts and the permissions you give to every account and so on. But now, indeed, with every change is going to be reflected in the dashboard itself, so anyone will see that change.
Okay, that's clear then. Thanks.
Yeah, about this, the thing is that in Kibana, everything is stored in the same index. So if you have access to that index, you can see everything. And if you have great permission, you can modify everything. So the technical point here is, for having different permissions, we need to have, or we will need to have, different indexes for Kibana, one for each different, let's say, role or user. So that's the thing, and that's what we are discussing if we have to, or if we want to have in the platform in the future. So with Search Guard and some things on top of that, it can be done, but it requires to support several indexes, several Kibana indexes for each different role. That's the point.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so I don't know if you have any more questions about any of the topics we have covered in the session. So please feel free to ask.
I think I'm good. So.
Yeah, I think myself I'm good as well. I'll be playing with editing dashboards for the next in preparation for the next session. So I'll probably come with a lot of questions.
Oh.
Fine.
All right. Thanks again, Alberto.
Okay.
Thank you.
And Miguel.
Thanks a lot for your time.
Cool. All right. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.